Hello and welcome to Hit the Bricks.
Everything that's interesting about Guthrie, Oklahoma. We have special guests today.
Season 2, episode 2. This is amazing, Justin. I mean, I got microphone that says Chris mic on it and headsets that says Chris headsets. Season 2 is off to a banging start.
That's but the finest for Hit the Bricks. We're here with Maggie, McClure, and Shane Henry. Thanks to you guys for being here today.
Thanks for having us. So much for having us. We're excited to be here.
The combination of like talking and like manipulating technology at the same time.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's almost as difficult as like singing and playing an instrument at the same time, right? Almost as difficult.
It's a lot to think about, especially in a live situation.
I would say it's probably like singing, playing, and trying to play a kick drum at the same time. So maybe add a third thing in there.
Yeah. Well, and we can definitely relate because, you know, since this whole season of everything being shut down, we've done a lot of Facebook Live shows. And so we're having to think about all the different hats. So I can relate it to that because it's like, okay, we have the lighting. Okay, we've got the camera set. Okay, is the audio good? Okay, now let's play some songs. Oh, and by the way, we need to interact with the audience. Oh, and we need to talk and like not seem stupid. And there's a lot to think about. So that...
Are you like looking at the comments while you're singing?
Yeah.
Like, okay, they asked a question. Wait.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to finish this verse first.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like always, we're just not that tech savvy because it's always like we're using one phone to do the Facebook Live and then she's looking on her tiny little phone and I can't see any comments. So I'm just like, okay, everything's great. You know, I'll just let you look at them.
Well,
we try our best.
Once life gets back to normal, is there anything you guys have learned through this COVID pandemic, social distancing that you guys will take from it when you can actually go back live?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've just really come to appreciate the few live shows that we've had this year, even more than normal. I mean, every time we get to play is a blessing, but this year we've had so many things get canceled, and the few outdoor shows that we've had and the one full band show that we've had so far this year, it just meant a lot more. And so I think just the appreciation has grown for me.
Yeah, pandemic will make you so love carrying a keyboard to a gig and unloading it. You know what I mean? The things that I gripe about having to carry an 80-pound tomb keyboard of Maggie's to set up a gig, and then like the piano bench is like an alligator that like snaps my fingers most of the times. But no, I welcome getting to set those things up. So
well, and the shows, the Facebook live shows, music shows I watch, I've seen different ways how people can monetize it. I've learned about all like Cash App and Venmo, all that good stuff. It's amazing how that translates over where you can still, monetize a little bit that way. So that's an interesting way to see how that has gone over the last several months as well.
Yeah, it has. And at first we were kind of watching to see what everyone else was doing and kind of learning from others before we jumped on the wagon, but we got on board pretty quickly. I think late March we started doing our weekly and actually twice a week Quarantunes show that we were doing.
What an adorable name for a show.
Well, thank you. Shane came up with that.
Good job, Shane.
I have a knack for nicknaming things.
You do. It's true.
But yeah, I mean, we did this for a little while, and I will say this, we started, it just kind of gets a little bit repetitious, and it feels a little bit difficult to continue to ask people to give when you know that everyone is struggling. You know what I mean? So it's like we did this for about, I don't know, we really focused hard on it for, I would say, about 2-3 months. And then we've since then have tapered off a little bit, I guess, so to speak. And we're just doing certain specific Facebook Lives where we're partnering with another, organization or company or whatever.
Or venue
and doing those kind of that way. But we've kind of slowed down a little bit on it. But yeah, it was definitely very helpful, and
yeah, it's a lot of work and you have to keep it fresh because if it's just the same thing every time, it kind of gets old.
Sure.
So we tried to do different shows. So one night we did a Beatles night and we learned a ton of Beatles songs and just played Beatles songs. And then another night we did a Christmas in April show and we brought out all our, holiday lights and everything and decked the studio out and played a Christmas set. And that was super fun. It's a great opportunity. We're grateful that exists. I mean, I don't know what we would have done without it. I think we probably would have lost our minds not being able to play and keep in touch with friends and fans in that way. The Cash App and Venmo, PayPal, that is a great avenue for musicians. And every night, every time we play, it's very different. We could make $5 one night and then $500 one night. It was just very, it changes constantly. And people have been buying merchandise too from those shows, so that's been super helpful as well.
Yeah, we probably don't realize how challenging that is, to where like if you're like touring or is playing different venues, each night you're looking at a different audience, different people.
You can do the same show.
Yeah, if you're hopping up on Facebook every other day, like, oh, thanks for coming to listen to my songs again.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
It's like you can't just keep recycling through your 25, 30 tunes that you always play. It's like, okay, time to write some new stuff or learn something new or change it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's our 20 new covers we learned last night.
Yeah.
Of Shania Twain.
Yeah.
Oh God, no, please.
Hold on. What?
What?
Shania Twain?
Speaking Chris's language now.
Yeah, here we go.
So speaking of your all's music, you've both had your own solo-ish kind of stuff for ages and ages, and now you're doing the Imaginaries kind of. I almost said branded, but it's the duo kind of like official duo stuff. Talk about that journey from doing Maggie McClure music, Shane Henry music, but you're doing the Imaginaries together, and you've always played together.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of like under the same banner. How and why did that come to be?
Do you want to start?
Sure. Well,
A deep philosophical question.
yeah.
That's why he has the laptop.
That's that
question right there is all
Yeah.
laptop right there.
Totally. So, we've both been releasing music for 15 years solo?
20 years.
Almost 20 for you, for our solo projects.
Is that your way of saying he's old?
Yeah, basically.
Well,
She's basically saying that without saying it.
It hasn't been that long for me. That's why I said that.
25? Wow, you were releasing music when you were 5 years old? That's incredible.
Yeah.
But we've been doing this before we even knew each other. So I had released an album and he had released multiple before we met, and we met through music. Always had our distinctly different careers. And so my stuff is more pop rock, singer-songwriter, piano-driven, and Shane's solo stuff is more blues rock, very guitar-heavy and influenced. And so those two styles are pretty different, but we found ourselves throughout the years playing together a lot because logistically it made sense to go out as a duo versus hiring a band to play, especially when we were going out and doing all of these college tours that we were doing back 2009 to 2012. And so we found ourselves playing a lot as a duo. And then after show after show after show, and then we've played hundreds of shows, we kind of developed this chemistry and we're like, oh, okay, so I can back you up and it's cool, and you can back me up and it's cool. And then naturally we just started writing more songs together, and we had opportunities to write for different film and TV things where they said, hey, we'd like a duet. We'd like a male and female. Can you guys do a song together? Okay. So just different opportunities kind of kept bringing up more opportunities for us to try out this new duo. And to us, the concept of starting a brand new band together was not scary, but almost, because the idea of starting over seemed like a lot, but it was also really exciting because we've been doing this for so long as solo artists. To have something completely new and fresh and to be doing it together made it really appealing to us. And a lot of our fans throughout the past 10 years have been saying, okay, I love the Maggie McClure stuff, I love the Shane Henry stuff, but I want a CD of you guys together. And up until now, we've only had the holiday music, which is great, but for the rest of the year, it doesn't really work. So that's kind of the natural
Unless
evolution.
you're Facebook living every other day and you're like, today is the Christmas show.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, you left a few things out that I can
Sure.
collaborate, or I can add to, but so we were doing this like college touring thing in 2008 and 9 when we'd been dating for like maybe 3 years. And Maggie was smart, and she figured out right away that she didn't want to go drive all the way across the country in a van by herself. So she goes, I can get my boyfriend to come play guitar set up all my stuff, carry my keyboard for me, and go on tour with me.
It's super smart.
Exactly.
Well,
so she did that. She worked that
Next
whole
level.
She worked that. She totally worked that system, and at the time, I was not making any money doing music. I was working as a oil and gas landman, and she convinced me to talk to my boss about being able to do this work from the road. So he said, okay, as long as you can do your work, and his laptop work. So I would just take a laptop with us, and I'd be over in the passenger seat doing this.
I'd drive most of the time.
Extremely boring job that paid for gas money while we drove to the next gig. And so that's kind of how it really started. It was just kind of, we just randomly started doing it. And the more we played together, the more it developed. And and then during the years we were living in Los Angeles, we would have opportunities, like you said, to write and record and, collaborate with other artists even. And I think that's when we started being able to write songs together without getting into fights.
Yeah, it took
it was
a little while.
a third person involved. So we're writing a song about this for this artist, or writing a song for this specific, project. And then we sort of stockpiled these songs, and we kind of, around what was it, 2017, 2018, whenever we got
2017, it really started to become evident that was the next thing that we needed to do, because Shane had just released his Light in the Dark album, and we had saw that through with a tour and radio and everything. And then I had released my Color It Up EP in the same year. And after that, it seemed obvious, okay, the next natural step is to actually pursue this.
Well, we were living at our friend's place in Thousand Oaks, California in 2017, and he introduced us to a guy named John Cunaberti, and John is a legendary producer and engineer. He's worked with a lot of artists from the Bay Area, and he started doing this series called the One Mic series, which he was the kind of initial guy that started it. And since then, a lot of people are started doing their own One Mic series. But his whole idea was to record a band in a studio with one mic in the room. And so through this mutual friend, we connected with John, and he said, I love your music. Would you guys come to Muscle Shoals and do a one mic series?
Yeah. Well, and to back that up, he also said, I love you, Maggie. I love you, Shane, but I only have one spot. I need you to do it together. Can you come up with a band name and send me 2 songs that you guys want to do for this? And so that really, it was like we had to figure it out.
Right. It was like, stop dabbling. Now it's time to figure it out. So you
say yes, and then you figure out how to
exactly.
Always.
So we already had.
Pressure.
I would say at that point in time, we already had 5 or 6 songs that we had written that we felt were really strong and really cohesive. So we sent those over, and he liked 2 of them, and said, "Okay, great." So we showed up in Muscle Shoals. We still didn't know what the band was called, but we went down there, the 2 of us, connected with musicians there, and had this really cool experience of making music in the studio with a band. And
I remember when I can't remember who posted it first, but I remember watching that video, and people don't realize how difficult that is. Because it's not like the 2 of you trying to stand around one microphone. It's a whole freaking band.
Whole band. Yeah. And so
it's a science.
It was crazy, man. It was like the setup for that took about 4 hours, because you have to realize that being one mic, and John's so good at talking about all the technical aspects of it, but it's a ribbon mic that catches the sound in a 180 on one side and a 180 on the other. So it basically kind of splits everything to left and right. And so the placement of where your guitar amp and where everything's at and the volumes of that in the room are initially what captures the recording. So we had to keep going back and tweaking it and moving things around until we got the stereo image just right and the guitars weren't too loud. But it was honestly the quietest I'd ever played. I played electric on one song, and you could literally barely hear the amp in the room, but when we listened back, it sounded like we were playing loud.
Yeah.
It was a really interesting, really, really cool experience.
I wondered how much trial and error there was in it. If you were like, Chris, move 2 millimeters to your right.
Yeah, it was like
absolutely.
that.
It was totally that way.
And he had a tape measure.
He was measuring. I mean, it was very, very scientific. So it was cool. But I'll never forget going into the control room, and we had a guy named Kelvin Holly on guitar, and Kelvin is kind of like a very well-known guitar player in Muscle Shoals, and had worked with a lot of people. Played guitar with Little Richard for years. I mean, he's been around a lot of things, and he walked in the control room and he freaked out because he heard this and couldn't believe what he was hearing coming from one microphone. So it was pretty cool. And long story short, that whole process, I think, sent us on our way to going back to Muscle Shoals, recording the debut album, and really sort of getting serious about the Imaginaries.
And throughout all of this, we really recognized that there was a new sound in this project. So it had elements of what Shane does and elements of what I do combined with this new thing that is more Americana and rootsy. So it's cool. It's been really exciting to explore this new genre and for us to create this new album. And even though the series of events in the past year have kind of adjusted our release plan, we have released 3 singles now off of the album, and it will be coming out in early 2021. That is the plan.
It will. So you guys have both, you played in Guthrie a number of times over the years. Your most recent Guthrie experience was on the set of a movie, though.
Yes.
The Reagan, the major motion picture Reagan, which has been filming in Guthrie for about 7 years now. But what was that experience like, being on set for that with Dennis Quaid and the rest of those folks?
Yeah, it was really cool, actually.
It was.
I mean, everybody was really friendly and nice.
Yeah, I mean, we've been a part of, as you guys know, quite a few films here, and every experience that I've had working on set in Guthrie is always just an awesome experience. This one was really cool because we got to actually be in a scene with someone like Dennis Quaid. Right. And it was just an awesome opportunity that we got to perform on camera as well. So what we ended up doing is I don't want to give away too much, but we're playing as a band on camera in a scene, and Dennis.
Is this
Quaid,
violating your non-disclosure?
I didn't sign anything. Ask away. I'll tell you.
Keep going.
What do you want to know?
But we got to be in a scene with Dennis, and he talked to us a lot and was really cool, and just chatted it up with us on set, and it was a great opportunity, an awesome experience. It went by like that. The scene we only filmed like a handful of times, and then we're like, okay, it's over. But it was just an awesome experience.
Was that at the temple?
It was. Yes. And it was for the inaugural ball scene.
Yes, we'll tell you that.
But it's interesting. Maggie worked really hard to find out what song they were going to play during our scene, because we knew that like we were going to be actors, phoning it in on stage. And it was interesting because we were going to use some of the musicians that we normally use, but they said, "Oh, we want this like shaggy kind of band that looks kind of like 70s, 80s."
They said 80s rock band.
Needs to look like Joe Walsh's, band or whatever, and
like Chicago vibe.
Yeah, whatever. So they sent pictures, and it was like everybody had long hair and facial hair and kind of looked like the guy from ELO. What's his name? That worked, Jeff Lynne. That kind of like wild 80s hair, and. So we cast a band with this look, she finds other musicians that we know in town, and we get there and they're like, okay, we need everybody to go shave like before our scene. Like
before.
It's interesting how they change all the stuff up, but we did find out like 2 days before what song they were going to do. And we decided to like record our version of it, because our idea was, they're not going to pay this guy. I don't know if we
probably not.
We can't say what song it is.
No one's listening anyway. Go ahead.
All right. I didn't know if we could tell them what wonderful song they chose. But anyways, we were going, they're probably gonna have to pay like $50,000 to license that track. If we record a track that
it's a good song, I can already tell.
If we record this, and do a great job at it, they'll probably license our song. So that's what we did, and we got really close to them actually using it during the filming, but I think that they're going to probably use it. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
We got a good chance. It's a coin toss, because Maggie didn't have enough time with the producers and the decision makers before our scene as she did afterwards to kind of educate them on stuff. And so, yeah.
But we have a good chance that they'll end up using our track.
So it'll be interesting, and they kind of had me dressed up like I look like Steve Cropper. I had a ponytail and,
well, we were
total 70s.
We were all in tuxedos.
Yeah.
Including me. I was like, okay.
So did Dennis Quaid stay in character when you weren't filming?
I mean, he small talked with Maggie and I, because he was kind of standing right. I mean, we were the farthest up, because the way they had the stage set up, they had, us forward, the band, and the horns were in the back, and they were coming out for their scene, and it was like, hey, welcome the president, and everybody in the crowd's cheering, and then we play our song and they go into a dance, so that's kind of how the scene played out. And it was interesting watching them shoot it from about 20 different angles, from the audience perspective to the stage perspective.
Yeah.
And then they did multiple takes where, they're dancing and the camera guys spinning around them, getting this really cool. And I could see kind of what the shot looked like, and it looked super awesome. And so it's cool, and it's interesting because everything was thought out except like the things when it comes to music, because for instance, we brought a sound system, so it looked like we were going to be, you want speakers on stage.
Well, and we've done this before.
Right, we've done it before, and we thought, well, they'll play the track through the sound system.
So we can all hear.
No,
Sure.
they played it through the sound system in this, way in the back of the
ballroom.
Everybody's trying real hard to listen to play along to that, so it's, it will look synced
Play along
up
to what?
to the song that was, that we're playing to a track.
What song?
I see where you're going with that sneaky.
I appreciate the fact that they had actual musicians, though. There's nothing
Cool.
worse than when you're watching a movie. My wife gets furious about this, especially with like violin stuff.
Yeah.
She's a violin player. Whenever a movie has somebody playing the violin, and she's like, "That's not real."
Totally.
And she just loses her mind.
It's
over
like chord
that.
changes are happening and their fingers never move.
Uh-huh.
It's like right in the same position the whole time. It's
Unfortunately, that happens a lot.
It's like every Disney film
just
ever.
kind of overlooked, and it's really unfortunate. So we're trying to change that.
Well done.
So
Well done.
thank you.
I hope they use your song. That would be super cool.
Yes,
absolutely.
it would. It would be very cool.
I would, in terms of like the royalties of that kind of situation, in the last few years, it seems like most movies are using like, here's a song you recognize, but we're going to have somebody else singing it, so we don't have to pay $1 bazillion.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that master fee, so that
They just have to pay for the publishing.
they pay the publishing side or the songwriter side, and usually they can work out a deal that's at least half of what it would cost. So
Yeah, on the master side.
So the album that you recorded there in Muscle Shoals, you've had 3 singles from that, right? Walking on a Wire, Revival, and
Thinking About You.
Thinking About You. Yes. Every time, like Thinking About You, that's the song that, like, as soon as you say the words, like it's one of those, like, it just sticks in your brain. Like, kind of
That's awesome.
that sweet, happy chorus kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's like,
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh.
That's a good sign.
Right?
That's a good sign if it's stuck with you.
So, the Walking on a Wire video. First of all, like the Walking on a Wire and Revival, both of those videos, you guys went with the super like cinematic, and like with Revival, the short film kind of vibe to that.
Yeah.
What made you decide to do like something other than just the typical "here's us on a stage playing music" kind of vibe for those videos?
Well, we knew that coming out as the new band, we had to step it up and really make a statement with these first few singles that we're putting out as the Imaginaries, because you only get one first impression, right? And so we had worked with our director, Reagan Elkins, out of Chickasha on some other videos, and we had just told him, look, we want to work with you on this, and we want to step it up. And we spent a ton of time brainstorming and dreaming up the concept for both of those videos, and just deciding that we were going to do something more than your typical easy, let's just set up and play type video. And these songs really lent themselves to that. I mean, visually, when we wrote these songs, when we're recording them, I mean, I was seeing the video ideas in my head even at that time. And so I think that just the songs themselves really opened themselves up to have videos that were this cinematic. And another thing that we wanted to pursue that we hadn't before is that we wanted to submit these to different film festivals across the country and across the world. And because we had seen how that could open doors for non-music videos and other films and music videos as well, we thought, well, we want to see what that would do for us and get our videos into a new audience. And so the video for Revival, the short film music video, has been selected now for 5 film festivals, which is so cool. And Walking on a Wire just got picked up for its first one. And so that's been really cool for us. But I think the songs themselves just kind of open themselves up to say, we need a really epic video. And thankfully, Reagan was willing to go there with us. I mean, the desert video for Walking on a Wire, it was definitely the most physical thing we've ever done, and also the crew. And, you know, we just knew it had to be that way to communicate the message of the song. For Revival, you know, just we knew we wanted an Oh Brother, Where Art Thou meets Bonnie and Clyde vibe, and that if we were going to go for that, we had to do it 1,000%.
And we filmed it in Guthrie too.
Yeah.
Let's start with the Walking on a Wire video. If you're just listening to us, make sure you go over to the City of Guthrie's YouTube page so you can watch this too, because these videos are so well done, and it's such a great, it's great storytelling. So listening to the songs are great, but make sure you go over to the YouTube page to watch the videos. So.
Now, you guys make it look like it's 185 degrees. Really good. How was it? Hot?
It was pretty hot.
Yeah.
Luckily, it was that weird kind of like Newport Beach hot where it's like the sun's baking you, but the air was still kind of cool.
Yeah, we got lucky.
We got lucky on that, but we were all sunburned by the time it was said and done. So.
We were. It was about 90.
Yeah, ish.
So thankfully it wasn't 100, because I think we might have had some issues with people passing out.
The price you pay for show business.
Yeah.
All right, so here's Walking on a Wire by the Imaginaries.
Am I supposed to run until my legs won't run anymore? Am I supposed to jump until I fall straight to the floor? Tired, walking used to run, run until my legs won't run anymore.
All right, so that was Walking on a Wire by the Imaginaries. Again, if you were just listening on the audio version of this, make sure you go over to the YouTube page and watch that. Okay, going back to, real quick, I got to meet Reagan Elkins on when he was here for
Infamous?
Infamous, yeah. So that song was picked up to be in Infamous.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That is really super cool.
Thank you.
It was filmed here in Guthrie, partially.
Mm-hmm.
I think down in Mason and Chickasha and other places. Mm-hmm. Like, what was the process like of getting that song in the movie? Was that part of the Oklahoma Film and Music incentive program, or was that separate from that? Or
that came from us getting to know the director, and they filmed also at Shane's grandmother's cafe, which Reagan helped orchestrate.
Because Reagan was hired to do location scouting.
Yes.
So they were looking for a cool cafe. So they actually used my grandmother's Vivian's Cafe in Verdon, Oklahoma.
what's it called?
Vivian's Cafe. It's in Verdon, Oklahoma.
Go to Vivian's Cafe.
Is that Grady County?
That would be, you're asking the wrong person. It's either I believe, well, it's either Grady or Caddo. Is it Grady? Okay, yeah. I can never remember.
Just go with it. I
That's
believe you.
right.
Yeah.
That's correct. So
The song
Yeah,
in the movie,
yeah.
Infamous with Bella Thorne.
Yeah.
My son was an extra in that movie for the post office scene downtown.
Very cool.
Yeah, I haven't actually watched it yet. He watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's pretty intense.
yeah, right?
Yeah. But yeah, we basically got to know the director from just being around, and Reagan introducing us to him, and them filming at Shane's grandma's cafe, and
ultimately you being an incredible networker.
It
That's
took
how
a
the
lot.
song got in the film.
It took a
because
lot.
you knew every angle and you worked it.
yeah.
Proud
The
of you.
fact that you don't mind talking to people probably helps your career.
And
Yes.
and what's so good about Maggie is she can smile, and like she knows exactly like when to push and like when to not be, It's like if a guy does that, they're just like, leave me alone. Maggie just smiles and then okay. So it worked out.
That's a great skill to have.
It's like
Jealous.
Well,
she needs to do like a podcasting how to network 101 class. I'm telling you, man, she's a monster.
It was a lot of back and forth, a lot of time, and a lot of, I don't know if they're going to use anything.
Well, and also too, remember he kind of at some point he came to you because of your company Searchlight,
Yeah,
and
he
was
did.
like needing help with.
Yeah.
He had all these songs that he wanted to use but couldn't get clearance on
Yeah.
them. They didn't have a budget for it, and so
Yeah,
we really kind of helped them out.
We did.
honestly.
Let's make a deal.
yeah. Unfortunately, their music budget was pretty non-existent,
It's
which
kind
was
of
very
it's
surprising.
a common thing. They go over budget on the film, and then they get to post, and they're like, "Oh, we want great music, but we have like $50 a track," and it's like that ain't gonna cut you. That's not getting any good music in there.
Yeah, so that's another thing we're trying to do is help educate people in the film business that there needs to be an appropriate budget for the music as well, so that
Yeah.
they can get the type of songs that they want. And thankfully, they did pay us decent for our song,
Right.
but they did want a lot of other ones too, and there just wasn't enough.
Well, there are so many bands that over the years I've heard about and learned about because their music was in movies, and there are so many
Yeah.
movies that I care about because of the music.
Right.
Like if it wasn't for the soundtrack to Garden State,
Absolutely,
Yes.
it was a good movie,
sure,
but
that
I
soundtrack
wouldn't
was better.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wouldn't
I was
love
obsessed.
it like I do without the music.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely.
Chris, what you like soundtracks to?
Dirty Dancing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
absolutely, yeah.
You wouldn't care about Dirty Dancing if it wasn't for
No,
the soundtrack.
absolutely not.
Okay, so the revival video,
Mm-hmm.
which was you shot some of that here in Guthrie.
Yes.
Kind of went all over the state with that one.
Yeah.
And so that one had a little more of you really did tell a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was that like to actually have to come up with? You're not just shooting a video with your song. You're
Sure.
having to make
Write
a
a script.
movie
Totally.
Yes.
out of this.
We worked really hard on it. And
What was that
really,
about?
Maggie and Reagan really collaborated hard on it.
Lots of pre-production.
Reagan Elkins, not Ronald Reagan.
Exactly.
Correct.
We've
Reagan
transitioned.
Elkins.
I was wanting to say that earlier, but
I know this is confusing a lot of Reagans, but yeah,
I've
it
been
was-
trying to work that joke in for 20 minutes now.
I mean, Reagan, once we sat down and kind of gave him our ideas, he originally wrote the first draft, and then we just all collaborated on it for a while before we sort of.
Yeah. And we really did have to dream big and say, okay, we want to be on a train car with it going, and we want to do this. We want to film in a saloon. We want
totally
a
safe
shootout
to,
scene, like all this stuff. And he's like, okay. And it took a big team of people to pull it off. I mean, we had a big crew compared to what we normally have. There were probably 15 people on the crew side, and we had the most extras we've ever had as well. But it took a lot of planning and a lot of dreaming, and then figuring out, okay, how do we make this a reality and not break the bank doing it? But anything, that you really put a lot of planning and thought into, especially like I said earlier, the song was just like begging for something like this in our minds. And so we just took the time, and it took a while to make a plan and then execute it. And we actually had wrapped, and then we decided we needed to shoot this extra bit at the beginning. We didn't know we were going to do that until later.
Oh, so that intro
Yes.
that leads up to the song, that was kind of like an after the fact
Yeah.
kind
Absolutely.
of deal.
Yeah,
So the Publishing Museum footage that we did here in Guthrie, that was the last thing that we did. And we felt like it needed to be there to make the story complete, to show our wayward past.
Right.
And, what we were turning away from.
There was
So.
some thugs
Yeah.
Totally.
robbing banks.
Trouble.
You're such
Yeah.
a sweet bank robber, though. It's like a little bit hard to believe with that smile. It's like, oh, you wouldn't rob a bank. You would just give out candy to somebody
Oh,
instead.
thanks.
That's why she was such a great bank robber.
I know.
They never expected it.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Totally.
Watch out.
There's one like little part of that intro, or maybe it's after the song starts, where you're running and you turn around and you're firing back at somebody. I think I texted you when I saw this. I was
Yeah.
like, for a split second, I was like, Maggie, duck.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
I know.
Shane's gonna shoot you.
I was mad from having to set the keyboard bench up, and my back was hurting, so I thought I'll just go ahead and shoot her right here.
You didn't just smile at somebody and someone did it for you?
It's funny. It's funny the comments we've gotten. And then somebody else said it looks like when your gun fires, it's blowing out a heart. And I'm like, what? And I had to go back and watch it, and it is kind of a heart shape, but that's kind of.
We're just glad that people are watching it with such
Here's
detail.
the overall deal. It's like we live in a world now where there's so much music being put out constantly. It's hard to get people's attention. Just releasing a song isn't enough to captivate people. It's like they want to listen to the song. They're like, okay, what's next? And even if they do listen to it, like, do they listen to more than 20 seconds of it? I don't know. But we thought if we could put videos out with our songs, that would give us a chance to reach more people. So that was kind of the reason why we did this.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic idea. So here is the Imaginaries with their video revival. Again, if you're just listening, go check the whole video out on our YouTube page.
What's this all about?
Look, we can't do this anymore. It's just not who we are.
What?
We're quitting.
Can't quit? Ain't nothing else out there for you. Without me, you're nothing. I made you.
We're leaving, Johnny.
You're nothing. You hear me? You ain't nothing. chasing money with the rest of us.
Wash away my worries till they are no more. Fill me with your mercy and love forevermore. Wash away my worries till they are no more. Never to be seen again no more.
Told me there gon' come a day. Keep on walking, walking down that narrow way. People chasing, chasing money on their mind. Always working, working, spent up all that time. Hey, we're on to something. Gonna set it right. Hey, there's no tomorrow. We just gotta live our lives. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Live our lives. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Wheels are rolling, rolling. We have been set free. Eyes wide open, open. On that road now we can see. We're on to something, hey, we're gonna set it right, hey, there's no tomorrow, we just gotta live our lives, ooh, 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 live our lives, ooh, ooh, take me to the river for revival, wash me clean, make me whole. Pull these devils from my soul. And I know that we now wake up tomorrow. Oh my Lord, I'll be changed. I'll never be the same. Hey, we're on to something. Hey, we're gonna set it right. Hey, there's no tomorrow. We just gotta live our lives. We're on to something. Hey, we're gonna set it right, hey, there's no tomorrow, we just gotta live our lives, ooh, 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 live our lives, ooh, ooh,
Revival by the Imaginaries. So you guys not only had to do like usual music videos. You had to act.
Yeah.
There was acting
I
involved.
had one
was.
line.
And you delivered it so
Did
well.
great.
Did. Johnny, we're leaving. See you later, man. I don't know what
Something
what did I
like
say?
that.
What did I say?
You
That
said
sounded
we're
good.
leaving Johnny.
Yeah, that's right. That's my
That
one.
was your
I
one
delivered
line.
it with passion.
Did you stress out over that line?
No,
No.
not at all. I
So
just-
were you to
I did-
start? Were you to start at all these festivals and all these that this video take you to?
Absolutely, I'm getting recognized everywhere
Yeah.
I go now.
Yeah, that's
You know,
awesome.
it's
Doing a-
Great.
Doing a Q&A, they're like, tell us about that line.
Right.
What went into the writing of that line? What were you feeling?
Love it.
Oh, man.
It's funny how people can get so inside on stuff like
Yeah.
that too.
What,
It is.
What memories from childhood did you conjure up?
It was funny because on set we were literally making it up as we went. Like we all had ideas, and then we would try stuff that we came up with, and it was like, that's not working. And so we would just try different things, and finally we landed with what we came up with in the final cut. But it took some experimenting with, which is surprising because it is just a few lines, but still it's like you can, write something on a piece of paper and it look okay, but then once it's actually being delivered, it's like, I don't actually believe that. Let's try something else.
Right.
And so it was nice in that situation to be, a part of the production team as well, to have the control to say, okay, we don't have to say what was written in the script. Let's play with it. And so that was nice to be able to do. It was fun for sure.
So do you like worry about like fancy cameras, or do you let the other people do that, or the crowd? You guys get into the with the guitar and piano and all that stuff. Have you kind of geeked over into the video production side of things?
Not really as much.
Okay.
I mean, there's so
Yeah.
much to think about as far as just like the wardrobes, getting the set ready, all that stuff, which we are a part of. That we kind of leave that up to Reagan. It's like, I don't know what lens to use on this scene and what the f-stop should be set at. That's your job,
Yeah,
boy.
let them take care of that. And as far as our own setup, we've got our studio happening, but we've got some basic cameras that we know how to use, but we haven't like totally gotten into.
What about
the tech
post-production?
side.
You guys editing? Are you guys?
Yes, we do a lot of that.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, as far as our music videos go, we leave that up to Reagan and
He usually
and the
does
team.
he usually does like a rough cut, and then we come in and collaborate on the cut from there.
we usually go back a few times, back and forth.
There's multiple emails from Maggie going, you need to
Yes.
change this. He'll laugh when he hears this podcast, but it's true. Hey, we know
Gotta make it the best it
we
can
know
be.
what we like. It's all good.
Yep.
Because I guess it is the case that like musicians can't really just be musicians anymore.
Totally.
You have to
No.
know a little bit about like literally everything.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's true.
especially how to do an Airbnb, because that can actually pay your rent when music doesn't, which I'm currently doing. So
And then the
That's true.
marketing and all,
Oh, it's,
album art.
It's crazy. I mean, we have to wear so many hats, and I mean, actually being a songwriter and a performer is actually a very small part of it,
I mean, it used to be,
especially on a
like-
daily basis. It
Do
used
podcast interviews.
Yeah. which
All
we
kinds
love
of super
to do.
annoying stuff.
No, but we're having to do everything and plan it all. We don't have management, we don't have a booking agent. We are essentially everything. I mean, thankfully we have a publicist that we work with, and she helps us a ton. But as far as like overall strategy and putting all the pieces together, that's all on us. And having a marketing plan, just the day-to-day stuff that we're doing, a lot of it is not very glamorous, but it has to be done, and there has to be, a lot of groundwork laid, and things have to happen in a certain process.
Well, speaking of marketing and promotion, you got some stuff coming up here pretty soon. So
Yeah.
We call that a segue in
Right.
business.
Love it.
transitioned right into that. So some Christmas stuff. Chickasha, Oklahoma City. What's going on there?
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing a special Christmas show at the Tower Theatre.
The show is December 11th, Friday, and it's all ages, and it is our one and only full band holiday show of the season, and we're super excited about that. It's going to be social distance and limited capacity, but we are also really excited because people can buy a ticket to watch the live stream from anywhere in the world as well.
Well, that's cool.
So
Really cool.
yeah,
They're doing a great job of figuring out how to do
They
that.
really are. And I mean, it's so cool. Like they figured out too, like, you know, we're obviously not going to be able to set up a merch display and go out and do all that because it'd just be too much interaction. But what they're going to do is they're going to bring like a menu to each table. So the bartenders, when they tab out our fans, or
Yeah,
what do you
they can
call
pick what CDs and shirts they
Right,
want
right.
too when they're tabbing out for their drinks.
So, which is great. And they can just put that on their card easily. And so, yeah, they're figuring out really cool ways to, you know, navigate this crazy world we're in right now.
Here's your cocktail and your T-shirt.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
It's great.
So, and they're doing an awesome job too of keeping everybody safe and making this, you know, going to be a fun, great night for everyone. So,
Yeah, we're very excited about it, and it'll be, 90% holiday music, and then we'll throw a few of our singles that we've released so far from the Imaginaries debut album into the show as well. And so, yeah, that's December 11th. We're very excited. And then also December 5th, we'll be doing a performance after the Christmas parade in Chickasha, Oklahoma. And it will be outdoors. It will be covered. And so we're hoping for good weather and hoping that it's not too cold.
I could have icicles on my guitar headstock.
You never know.
Let's not talk about ice, please. No
Yeah,
ice.
right.
No more ice.
It's going to be 80 degrees, sunshine.
Hey, it could happen.
Really good.
So that's December 5th. We're looking forward to that as well. And
Right on. Very cool. So, so you guys are, you figured out how to navigate the pandemic world as musicians. Now you got some stuff coming up.
Yeah.
And who knows what 2021
Yeah.
will bring, except for the fact that you will have your Imaginaries debut album out.
We
Yes.
will. We're going
In
to
that
release
year.
that record's coming out in April. We're not sure the exact date yet, but we know it's going to be in April. So.
yeah, that's the plan.
And people can pre-order it
Yes.
right now.
Yeah.
Right now. Imaginariesband.com. Go ahead and order it. We'll put our beautiful signatures on there and send it to you. And
Get a
you'll
copy
get it,
ahead of
you'll
time.
get it ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And people can also buy your Christmas album now, right?
Yes, they
Get that
can.
available.
Hometown Christmas is available. 13 tracks, half originals, half covers. What's really cool is that a lot of the songs can be heard in retail and restaurants throughout the holiday season. So if people are out and about, you can a lot of the time hear our holiday songs, which is really cool, all over the world. Macy's, FedEx, Bath and Body Works, Panera, we've heard. And it's funny, we would have been on the Brian Setzer tour this year if it weren't for COVID, which got canceled last year
all the
because he
people
got
that are
tinnitus.
Yeah, they're feeling bad about, this year. It's like, man, I had my appendix removed last year and we lost out on a major tour 3 days before the tour. And now we're going to miss out on it again because of this stupid pandemic. So
the
maybe
trifecta of health issues, Brian Setzer, and pandemic.
Yeah,
I know. So we're hoping for third time's a charm. And so 2021, if they can figure this out, maybe with a vaccine or something where people can actually fill stadiums. Because I think that it's going to be a while. I'm talking to a couple of my good friends that are big touring artists, and they're like, yeah, it's going to be 2022. And I'm like, no.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So my good friend Joe Bonamassa,
Hopefully not.
he told me that, his team's not really looking at anything until like spring of 2022 because of just insurance and all of the, but he's selling out, 6,000 to 6,000 seat venues a night. So it's like they have to have that many people in those rooms to make it. To pay for the crew, and there's so many sides of the touring world that, on that level it all has to work. So it's just such a, I'm hoping for, a sooner timeline.
Yeah.
But that's the talk on the street. So
It makes you really appreciate the creative solutions like your show coming up at the Tower.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, so make sure you go and buy a ticket to that show. You guys you have all the usual social stuff: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Your stuff's on Spotify. People wanted to test it out before they make sure you buy the records.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't just listen on Spotify. Spotify's great.
It is.
Yeah.
But yeah.
If you test drive it, go ahead and just make a playlist of one song and loop it so that we can get maybe
point 0.00002
Right.
pennies per song.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's actually possible to set up a way of looping your own record to the point where you can get, money in the mail. That'd
Somebody,
be funny.
what was the band that actually did that? I think Wolfpack.
Oh, really?
I think they did that.
Are you serious?
Or I think it was them.
Okay.
They had their fans continuously play there. Like, and they put up songs that were just like 5 minutes of silence.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they just had them loop
That's
it
kinda
1,000
funny.
times.
Yeah.
So look up their stuff on all the different usual places. Go buy records. Go buy a ticket for their show. Look for your stuff. Look for you guys playing in Chickasha, Oklahoma City at Christmas things.
Yeah, and we're Imaginaries Band on all the social networking, and then imaginariesband.com is our official website. So
Right on.
tickets for the show can also be found there, and any other info.
Cool. Thank you guys for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys so much for having us.
Heck
This
yeah.
has been
Now-
really fun.
This is season 2. We still have the coming home when we sign off.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. We signed on for a second year on that. Okay. I always like that part. That's my favorite part of the show. So
I love
that's
it.
Maggie. That's Maggie,
Yeah,
Justin.
exactly.
Who sings? Yeah. When we go by, that's Maggie.
Yeah. Chris, it's good to see you again too. Good to see everybody.
Absolutely.
Out and about doing
Yeah,
stuff.
You too.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. I hear. That's Maggie.
It is.
There it is. Yay.